gastroc area, and the surgery is just basically a cut open, and that just basically allows to relieve the pressure away from the gastroc, and it basically heats up like a bubble really, so getting the air out of this relieves any pain and swelling. Now I'm going to look at some ways of reducing the risk of rhabdomyolysis to the body. One way is your exercises, just make them lower intensity. So doing way too much is just going to, in regards to reps and weight, it can be really damaging to your body and cause problems like this. So if you were to go in the gym, doing just tiny lower weights, if you know you can't handle it, a way you can test it is doing one rep max tests. This is just to see how much you can actually lift and see how comfortable it's going to be for you before going into exercise straight away. It just means you're not going to blow yourself out completely. It just sets you ready for exercise. And one way personally I can do it is by keeping a diary, writing down what you can actually lift, and it really just can help you out for the future as well. Another thing is making sure you're resting. Just make sure you're taking days off from exercise, not doing it every single day. You don't need to be doing stuff every day. Make sure you're doing proper cool downs, so adequate stretching, making sure you're stretching all the muscles you've exercised, local and globally. For example, if you've done bicep curls, you've done arm day, making sure you're doing your shoulders as well. Different stretches, just making sure the lactic acid build-up is just going to be as low as possible. Another thing people don't really do is hydration. Making sure you're drinking water throughout the day, before, during and after exercise. Not way too much, but enough so your body is getting enough fluid to your muscles. Not gulping water as well, just making sure during exercise you're taking little sips, as this does help clear myoglobin levels in the blood. It just keeps your heart rate to a nice steady pace, as a very high heart rate during exercise can be quite dangerous as well and lead to further problems. Now I'm going to look at recovering from rhabdomyolysis. One thing you can do is making sure you've got supervision whilst exercising. So a health profession may come with you to the gym just to check on your symptoms and just see if there is any risk of reoccurrence. We've seen that can help, as someone who is clued up, like a medical profession coming with you, can just make sure you're doing stuff right. Just check your symptoms, making sure you're not overheating, anything like that. Weekly checkups can be done, arranged by a medical profession. This is just to decrease the risk of reoccurrence as well. Making sure you're staying hydrated, keeping yourself cool, doing proper warm-up and cool-downs. Another thing as well is making sure you're checking your urine colour. You need to check the colour, as we saw in the rhabdo stage, there is a Coca-Cola colour. That isn't healthy really. You need to try and make sure it's clear, make sure that it is actually clearing as well, as then your symptoms will slowly start to go down then. Making sure your muscles are healthy as well. Obviously we saw with the compartment syndrome that muscles may not be fully fit still, so just making sure that it is actually safe to exercise before doing it. Obviously we saw tenderness, pain and swelling. It isn't really a good idea to exercise if you still have these symptoms, as it could just make muscle fibres worse. It can cause more damage to you, and it can obviously increase the risk of reoccurrence as well. The return to play and return to exercise rehabilitation. The research obviously does say that you just need to be 100% fully sure and cleared by a medical profession. A sports therapist may have a clear role in this, so they will just help diagnose you when it is safe to actually go, making sure that it is a clear decision through the sports therapist and through a medical profession as well. Research just does mention about the competition, just making sure they go back to low intensity exercise, not going straight into high levels. Obviously we saw from the case study that he does do triathlons and stuff, it may be just a wise decision just to lay off them just for quite a while, just getting the body back to full fitness, getting the muscles back healthy. So it's just important to allow rest, and it's just going to be a long time before he can return back to full fitness. Any permanent damage may still be there. It's just a case of letting that go down. Surgery obviously may be needed if it does lead to the compartment syndrome, but just making sure that the sports therapist is there with you, making sure you're staying hydrated, just everything that may just reduce the risk for you. So that is everything for exertional rhabdomyolysis. Obviously it is a very serious case that can just happen to anyone. So in conclusion, just to make sure, staying hydrated, just making sure you're not blowing yourself out at the gym really. It doesn't even have to be gym. Obviously we saw from a few case studies that it can be due to, obviously we saw the triathlete, also his lifting techniques, he does swimming. It can be from anything, just making sure you're getting adequate rest, hydration, your diet, just staying healthy and just making sure that you're not overdoing stuff.